Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are safe, you are well, and you are with people you care about who also care for you. Thanks to all of you who made comments on last week's Sunday Musing. It was wonderful to see how many people are using their wallets as a way of protesting how companies are behaving in the wider world. And while I would love to exist in a world where that were not the necessary thing to do, it's nice that so many of you are choosing to be active and choosing to boycott companies who are supporting things that you do not like. I know at one point, boycotting companies was seen as something that only the woke libtards did, and I think we've kind of definitely got past that as a society now. And I think also that, if a company is supporting things like ICE and, what the US government is doing to its citizens, for example, or what a company is doing in other countries. I know there are lots of people who mentioned that they were boycotting companies and firms who had connections with what's going on in Ukraine right now, or perhaps what's going on in Gaza. And it was really good to see people using their wallets and their money to make their voices heard. Today, I have a slightly different topic to discuss. And by the way, if you hear dogs barking in the background, that's a very angry ghost. It is about walking time here at the house, and I want to film before the sunlight disappears. And Mr. Ghost is very upset about that, so I'll try and be as quick as I can. But today's topic is one related to the increasingly large numbers of automakers who are publishing financial results and blaming all of their poor financial performance on EVs. So far, Ford's done it, GM has done it, Stellantis did it this week, and they're all going, oh, we're losing money because we're being made to make EVs by the terrible government, who are no longer, obviously, the government now. The US federal government, as it stands today, is very anti-EV. President Trump is anti-EV. He doesn't want EVs. And, he signed all of these executive orders to try and encourage people to buy V8s rather than EVs. I'm paraphrasing slightly, but that has been the knock-on effect of that. And you're seeing a lot of companies going, well, we've written off a massive amount of EV debt. And my question to you today is it really EV's fault? Is it really EV's fault? And I would be curious to know what your take is on it. Now, obviously, I am not an economist. I don't play one. I don't really have a huge financial background. I'm just a person. But all of the write-offs that have been happening relating to EVs have been made since President Trump reassumed his office. And they've only really been in the US, and in other parts of the world, EV sales are rising. Definitely also here, EV sales last year set new records. And the companies that are rolling back on EVs appear to be using it as an excuse for a whole slew of poor money management on their behalf. So a lot of companies are saying, oh, well, we had to invest all this money because we were being forced to make EVs. And now we've invested this money, we're going to write off all of that debt because we don't have to do it anymore. That is honestly how I feel about it. And I am a little salty. Yeah. A lot of knackle around me right now about that. But it is because I think, the automakers have been given effectively a carte blanche in the US to go back to producing heavily polluting vehicles. Fuel economy standards have basically been scrapped. And automakers are now free to produce the vehicles that they can make the most money with, and planet be damned, health consequences be damned, other people be damned. And that's very frustrating from a point of view of someone who is an EV advocate, an EV journalist. But it's also, I think, frustrating from someone who has to live on this pale blue dot along with everyone else. Climate change is real. We've seen some major, massive storms this year. Unpredictability in the winter is becoming more common. Unpredictability in the summer is becoming more common. I'm standing outside right now without any sleeves on at the end of February. I'm going to be eaten alive because all of the gnats are about right now, but that's not really the point. The point is that I feel like a lot of automakers are using it as an excuse, because if you look at Rivian, look at Lucid, Tesla is a special case because Elon Musk has caused most of Tesla's financial downfall in recent months. And when I say financial downfall, I mean it's shortening profits, right? It's shrinking profits. It has been down to Elon Musk, nothing else really. And, you know, all of these companies are blaming, all of the mainstream companies are blaming EVs, but there's data to show that EV automakers are actually growing, that they're actually gaining popularity. And obviously in China, things are doing great there. So are EVs really the real reason why automakers are failing right now? I think if you look at Ford, for example, it has had massive recall campaigns in the last, 6 months or so that have really impacted its bottom line. GM has had massive recall campaigns that have impacted its bottom line. And you could argue that once you've invested a whole chunk of change into EVs, the logical thing would be to keep developing and keep investing and keep using the money that you've already spent rather than writing it off and just walking away. And there's a lot to be said about how businesses are operated in the US and how people view businesses. You know, it's okay to bankrupt your business. You get to walk away and you can start again. Whereas actually what we need to be encouraging is companies to go, no, we're in this for the long haul. We've invested all this money. We've invested all this technology. This could give us a leading edge. Let's keep going. And I think the F-150 Lightning is a prime example of that. Look, it was a vehicle that I think, I own one, so I'm biased. But I think it was a really good vehicle, really solid vehicle for what it offered. And I think that, some of GM's vehicles are really solid too. The Bolt, really solid vehicle, both the original and the new one. And yet, automakers are going, actually, no, it's all EV's fault, the reason we're doing badly. It feels like EVs have become a scapegoat. And I'm curious if they really are to blame, or if it was the automakers. And if the automakers choosing the wrong EVs to make was really the problem. Instead of making affordable family cars that everyone could find accessible, automakers in America really focused on massive oversized SUVs and pickup trucks with, triple digit pricing, as in hundreds of thousands or high double digit thousands price tags, like $80,000, $90,000. A lot of people just cannot afford that. I'm lucky. I was able to afford my F-150 Lightning, but only because my partner had a very good job at the time and we were able to put some money down as a deposit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to have afforded it. And I know most people today can't afford a new car of any type. So, blaming EVs for that feels like victim blaming, basically. I'm just going to say it. It feels like victim blaming. It feels like telling someone, oh, you dressed too skimpily or whatever. And as a survivor myself of nasty things that happened in my past, I'm not here for that. Let's not shift blame. The automakers were greedy, and they're still greedy. And that's the real reason why they're failing. It's nothing to do with EVs. It's everything to do with them not having a staying power and wanting to keep their shareholders happy. Prove me wrong in the comments. Thanks as usual go to the amazing list of people scrolling by on either side. They are why we are still here. If you would like to join them, you can do so from $1.50 a month on Patreon. You can also do it on YouTube. You can also send us Ko-fi if you feel so inclined, or an old-fashioned check. Old-fashioned checks are great. I drive down to the local PO box like once or twice a month. Some people reach out and go, did you get the check? And I just want to reassure you, the mailbox is a significant distance from where I live. So for me to go down there, I have to plan it and go down, and I normally do it when I've got another errand to do. I don't do it every day. So apologies if it doesn't immediately get picked up. And also apologies if we don't personally send you a thank you note. We try, we can't do it with everybody. If I know who you are and I know where you are, I will try very, very hard to make sure we say thank you. But thank you to everyone who supports the channel. We really wouldn't exist without your support, and 2026 is going to be, we're nearly a quarter of the way through the year now. So, wow, keep going. November's not that far away, promise. Also, check on your friends and family if you have any trans and non-binary people and queer people in your family right now, because Some really, really horrific stuff happened this week in the US, including the state of Kansas, which I'm not going to say what happened because that's going to re-traumatize a whole lot of people, but suffice to say that Kansas is now a place that most of us can't go. So on that poor note, look after yourself, look after your loved ones, tell the important people in your world that they are important to you, because you never know when you are no longer going to be able to tell that to them. And I think it's really important that you make sure that you communicate how important they are to you. And I will see you this time next week.